This is for the creators.
Hey guys!
Hey guys!
What's up? We're back.
What's up? I really love these episodes, and people are loving them too, which is good.
Yeah, I think we had a review from someone who's saying that they're enjoying it. So that's really cool.
Keep them coming, which we will. And I look forward to doing these as well.
I'm ready. I've done my research, guys. So, in the past.
Exactly.
I've not done my research. So I've done my research now. I'm coming with stats. I'm coming with all type of things, dates, everything.
Don't build it up, just before then... you forget, and it's like,
No, man, Bridget, I have it right down.
Yeah, you have it.
I've written it all down, love. I've written it all down.
Good. All right, so what are we starting with? Last week's episode.
Yeah, the episode that we're now episode 58.
Yeah, so that was so this is episode 59. Yeah, so 58 was with Dalia Diaz, who is a creative director, filmmaker, photographer, and it was a really good episode. Really inspiring. She's done so much with so many great artists, from Drake to Cardi B to Migos to Chris Brown, Stormzy, Hardy Caprio, like so many people. Like, she's really smashing it. Her story, Wizkid, yeah, her story is really cool. So definitely go back and check out that episode. It's really inspiring. What did you get from it?
I think the main thing that I got from her episode was because the bit that really stood out for me was when she spoke about when her mum sent her back to Nigeria. Yeah. But I think that foundation of having to go back to Nigeria and literally having to go outside and fetch water from a well and things like that sets her up for a future.
I think so, yeah.
After you've done something like that, nothing is challenging. And to do it at such a young age and to be thrown in at the deep end, I think that's why she was able to later go on and just jump on an airplane and head to LA. Yeah,
I think being out of your comfort zone, being put out of your comfort zone is really foundational. And you could just see the pattern through her career so far, that she's comfortable being put out of her comfort zone, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The other thing that really stood out for me as well was during the conversation when she spoke about the first job that she turned down, and it was going to pay her £5,000. And I think that, again, I remember I used the word precedent about 50 times during that combo. But I think that really set the precedent for her, because she knew her worth, and she knew from a very young age, this was at 16, what she would and wouldn't do. Yeah. So for me, that really stood out, because you have to know your work, and you also need to know what you stand for. Absolutely,
yeah, and especially knowing what you stand for, because she didn't turn it down because of the money. It was a lot of money, and is a lot of money.
£5,000
exactly. But she wasn't excited about the project itself, and I think that's very important. As a creative, you really have to love what you're doing while you're doing it, because that's, as a creative, you're going to get your best work out of doing something that you believe in.
Definitely. What did you take?
I think if you ask people, that's right. If you ask people that have taken the money when they didn't really enjoy the project, I highly doubt they're proud of their work. So yeah, it's definitely you want to do work that you're proud of.
Definitely, because also when your heart's not in it, like, you don't even do your best, but then with the type of work that she does, it would always be there. Could you imagine that with the internet? It would literally be there to haunt you. And when someone sees that and they think, oh, is that what she's really working with?
And also, you're only as good as your last piece of work. So definitely. That could have changed her project.
The whole trajectory of her life. Yeah. Really.
So yeah, definitely important what you say yes and what you say no to.
So what did you take from it?
Mine was really a motivational factor. Her jumping on a plane to LA and putting herself in a situation. Obviously, so when you listen back to the episode, she one of her treatments got picked for the Wizkid and Drake video, and they told her, look, we're shooting a video pretty much tomorrow. So she's like, all right, I'm coming. And she didn't have a visa or anything. And she literally booked the ticket even before booking her visa. And I won't spoil it, but she put herself in a position where she could gain the most from that situation.
Sink or swim.
Honestly, yeah. And that's what I got from it. Put yourself into situations, you know. Once you've got your work to back you up, and you know you're going into a scene with good intentions and good work, you know, put yourself out there. But essentially, put yourself out there. Take yourself to the event. Take yourself to the location. You know, if you want to be in film or music, go to New York, London, LA, etc. You know, that's where these things are happening. So. And it's not like go there, just take all your belongings and just live there straight away. But at least, do you know what I mean? At least scope it out. Like start planting seeds and meeting people, building relationships. Because these things take a lot of time, but you have to start somewhere, you know.
The irony is sometimes so much of it don't take time as well.
Yeah, because I think being online, it kind of skews what the creative industries are like. Like I knew this when I first signed to Sony, and I realized like so much of the business happens in real life, like person to person, not on Twitter, on Instagram, etc. Because there's so much of it, so much of the people are accessible on there, but it's real life relationships, and you have to really be there, like in person. So yeah, I took that advice and booked the ticket to LA. So I'm going out next month, end of April. So if any of our listeners, I know our second biggest group of listeners are in
Silicon Valley or something.
Yeah, well, it's around California, like San Jose and all those kind of areas. So yeah, hit me up. I want to meet you.
Holla.
End of April,
out here doing meet and greets and them things. Getting all famous on me and stuff. Like,
for the creators on tour.
Meet and greet
I'll be doing book signings at Borders. What book though? plain notepads at this point. It will be a book.
You can do a Will Smith, like what I saw him doing the other day. Did you watch his recent video about when they're bringing what's the film that he's bringing back? Oh, Aladdin? See, it's happened to me. No, the old school
Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 3.
Yeah, so they were on the set of Bad Boys and they were filming a scene in a library. And he was just like signing all of his DVDs in the library. He was even signing like DVDs he wasn't in, but like, you know, I had a role to play in it, so I'm just gonna sign it anyway.
He's
it's like you can just be out here like pulling out books and just saying, look, it's got my surname in it, it's got my first name in it. So
he's smashed it. He has actually smashed
it though.
Yeah. I know he's got a team behind it, but like him jumping on Instagram was just like, whoa. His content is always bangs.
They really like produced really well, because even that one episode, he was basically saying, because I think TMZ were there trying to like capture a scene. He's like, look, I'm TMZ, so he called it WMZ, and then he was just doing like animations and stuff. I'm like, the work and the effort that goes into one episode is so amazing. So he's taking it to the next level.
Absolutely. Smacked it.
Yeah, so that kind of takes us into other people who are taking it to the next level. Which should we hit up first? I think we should take it old school though.
Go on.
Talk a little bit about MySpace, because
really
and truly, I didn't even really know that MySpace was still about.
Yeah, so what's funny is MySpace sold to, I think it was AOL back in the day.
I think we need to like maybe introduce MySpace first.
Oh,
for the
wow.
That don't even know about MySpace.
Wow, yeah, you're right, you know. Okay, so MySpace was a social network that blew up in all kinds of industries, just as like Facebook is a social network for everyone. But MySpace was very popular with musicians, filmmakers, creatives, etc. And it was the first network to really capitalize on creatives, I think. And it allowed people to upload, I think it was like 4 or 5 songs onto their profile. And so many people got discovered from MySpace.
Arctic
Monkeys, Lily Allen,
Adele.
Adele,
Bush.
yeah. You're right, yeah.
Yeah,
so many people. And everyone had a MySpace profile. There you go. So many people were founded on there. So many people uploaded music on there. This is before SoundCloud. This is before YouTube even. This is before most streaming sites. So it was the first place that globally you could
Black
get noticed.
Planet was actually before it. If you didn't see all the... Well, we spoke about Black Planet.
We spoke about that, yeah.
Yeah, so Black Planet actually came before MySpace.
And
then MySpace came along, but it's been about from a long time. Like when I was doing my research into MySpace, it actually reminded me of BBM days.
BlackBerry Messenger. I never used that.
Yeah.
Myself.
You didn't?
Nah.
Oh, strange. You must have been a WhatsApp guy from early.
Well, I waited for messaging to become cross-platform because I didn't want a BlackBerry. Actually, I had a BlackBerry before BBM, but anyway. We won't go into that.
Yes, I digress, so basically what's happened with MySpace is they've lost over 50 million songs by 14 million artists that's been accrued over a space of 12 years.
It's insane. 50 million songs.
50 million songs.
And to put that in context, when you look at an advert for Apple Music, they advertise it as 50 million songs. I think it's 50 million songs.
Is that what they advertise Apple Music as?
Yeah, which is funny. So if you think about it, that's the volume of music that they've lost forever.
That's crazy. And then they put up like some weak messages about, hopefully you guys had it backed up on...
Crazy.
Wait a minute. But you know what, though? It's terrible for MySpace, and I guess they probably don't really care because I don't know if they... I was just surprised that people were even listening or even... I didn't even think that MySpace was still around, to be absolutely honest.
I thought it phased out. I remember Justin Timberlake bought a part of it and kind of reinvented it, or like redesigned it. And I think it got some traction maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, but since then I haven't heard anything about it until this.
Yeah, so when you sent it through as things we're going to discuss, I was like, MySpace. But I think the lesson here is that sometimes you don't need to go through things yourself. You can learn from other people and their pain. So organizations like Spotify, Tidal, Google Play, Apple, all of those now really have to be, like their servers have to be so secure, which I'm sure they are. But could you imagine if this was Spotify?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the difference is independent artists uploaded their copies of their own music onto MySpace, and that's the only place it lived. Whereas with like Spotify, Apple Music, you have to submit it, so you likely have a copy.
I guess the equivalent would be SoundCloud.
Yeah, the equivalent would be SoundCloud. Yeah. If SoundCloud lost it, it's definitely take note, SoundCloud. Don't lose people's music.
That's crazy.
Back it up.
That's a huge responsibility, though, when you really think about it, like these platforms. Because even now, when I think about things as well, I sometimes upload photos to social media so I can delete them off my phone.
Oh, wow.
So I use it, especially like back in the day, like Facebook, definitely. Because I know it's always going to be there. So I just upload it.
Or is it? That's the thing, right?
Look at you, your Debbie Downer self. It'll always be there.
How much trust do we put into, especially as creatives, like YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, like all of these different sites, you know, make sure you got backups, basically.
No, the thing is, like, because even like, for example, when I build websites for people and stuff, I always encourage them to upload their videos to YouTube. And then we can just use the YouTube link for it to appear on the website, because if you place the video on the website, it will slow it down.
Yeah, that's right.
Dramatically. So even in a sense that we're relying on these services, but I guess you still have to have your backup, because you kind of use them so it frees up your storage.
That's right.
So it's crazy. But
the lesson, back your stuff up.
SoundCloud, just make sure that this doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, make sure.
Yeah, could you imagine if they had the next person we're going to talk about, like if Dave never had his tracks backed up and he was using MySpace and that was his only place to access his songs.
Yeah.
And they're all gone.
That'll be long.
There'll be no number one. So his first, so Dave is a UK, would you describe him? Is he a rapper or a grime?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
He's a rapper. So he's a UK rapper, and his first studio album, Psychodrama, debuted at number one.
Debuted at number one, which is huge. Like, it doesn't happen often over here for rap albums to go to number one. Just for context, for listeners from all around the world. So it's a big deal, and especially Dave is a very intellectual rapper. It's a lot of wordplay. You really have to listen to what he's saying. He's kind of akin to Nas for me, like where you really have to listen because he's dropping knowledge as well, and it's just done really well. It's a really, really good album.
Yeah, and he's only 20 years old.
He's only 20 years old, yeah, and it's independent as well. Yeah, and yeah, they've just gone from strength to strength, and it's just really good to see.
Yeah, and the really cool thing about it that I saw on his socials was that his album went to number one and he purchased his first home all within
the same day,
week.
yeah.
Same day.
Same.
Yeah, he got the
keys.
Day? He got the keys for his first home, I think, the same day when he found out that he'd gone to number one.
That's an amazing
that's a blessing
achievement.
and a half. Like, his mum must be so proud.
Yeah. It's an amazing achievement.
Definitely.
Especially because he's not really boasty like that. Like, it doesn't seem like it's within his character, and it's not like he boasted it anyway.
No, but even like he came on the
was.
scene with Drake. Like, that was a big debut when Drake did the remix of his song.
That's right. Yeah.
And the thing what I liked about him though is that he didn't rely on that to be famous.
No.
Because he still went away and he still put in the grind. A lot of people, and that might have been to his credit, because some people would have just like rode that wave for as long as possible.
Yeah,
but I think he probably realized that if he went on that, then he would just be known as the guy who Drake jumped on their track, and like it was only Drake that made it a good song, rather than the fact that he's actually a talented rapper.
Exactly.
So for him to be, and that must have been around that time, he was probably about 18, because his he released his top 20 EP Game Over in 2017.
That's right.
So yeah, he's done really well.
Do
you know what was interesting to me when I was doing my research, guys, is that for his album to go to number one, he only had 26,390 combined sales.
Wow.
23.6 million track streams though, and the streams made up 79% of the 26,000+ combined sales.
There you go.
Which was really interesting, but it's like the streams are more powerful, because before, back in the day, that would have been like single sales.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that would have been single sales though, would it? But you'd have to buy it, because that's the only way you'd have been able to listen to it apart from the radio.
Yeah. So it would have been album sale. But yeah, I mean, most importantly, it's number one, which is good, and hopefully it gets more people to listen to it.
And three of his other songs are in the top 20. So you got Disaster with J Hus is number 8. Streatham is number 9. And Location with Burna Boy is 11.
Sick.
And then the really interesting thing as well is that he got to number one ahead of the Foals. I don't really know who they are, people, but they're another like band. And he they were just like 279 combined sales behind Dave.
No way. It was that close.
279, yeah.
Wow.
But obviously there was a little bit of controversy around the album as well, because people were complaining, saying that one of the tracks on Dave's album called Black was racist. And what was ironic about that is the fact that he was saying that black is beautiful, black is excellent, like black is joy, black is evident. So basically, because you're talking positively about being black, how can that be racist if you're black yourself?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yes, but my favourite song by Dave is the song with Fredo, Funky Friday. That's my jam.
That went to number one as well, which was good.
In October.
And what was interesting is that song is not on the album.
Oh, really?
No.
I haven't listened to the album, to be honest. But
Yeah, so his the singles leading up to the album aren't on the album, which I found good, because you got in this day and age, you got to have something worth people listening to. If they've already heard all the singles, then they're not going to listen to the. Yeah, exactly. Then
you're just going to go to your favorite track. So people have to stop and actually check out the album now, because admittedly, if I went on there and Funky Friday was there, I'd have gone straight to that first. Because we don't listen to things in order anymore.
Nope.
Like when you have to put some like a CD into a CD player, you're more inclined to listen to it from start to finish.
That's right.
But when you can just like literally just click on what you want, like, and I go to listen to a Drake album, I listen to the ones I like. I don't listen to it in full. So that's a good move on his part, for real.
Definitely worked. So congrats to Dave. We look forward to more.
Yeah.
But on the same topic of a lyrical artist, there's an artist over here in the UK called Rapman, aka
Real Rapman.
I thought I'd let you drop that. So
it's Real Rapman.
Yeah, this is a bit of an in-joke between Veneer and I, because she says people's Instagram names as their names, like that's their name. But his artist name is Rapman. So Rapman tells stories through his lyrics, and then he creates videos to accentuate what that story is. So he had a story on YouTube called Blue Story, and he also did Shiro Story, which went viral and got the attention of one Jay-Z, who then signed him to Rock Nation for both music and for filmmaking. And off the back of that, it would seem his Blue Stories concept was being made into a feature film, which on Instagram we've been checking out the behind the scenes, and it looks really cool. And one of our past guests is in it.
Sean Sager,
yes. So it's crazy. It's just crazy how these things happen. But yeah, he's got a role in it. I'm not sure what role it is, but he's in it. And as of today, the film's wrapped. So that should be
wrapped.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that should be on our screens soonish.
Yeah, and I think the thing that jumped out for me from what he said is that he's always found that both TV and film they've lacked the effort of even telling diverse stories. Like, they've never tried to tell diverse stories. It's always like the same sort of storylines, because Blue Story is basically about a postcode war. And one of the things that he says, I think, on the YouTube series, I'll read it, young people are fighting and dying for areas they have no ownership over. The youth need to realise they are not soldiers enlisted by the government to defend and regulate areas. They're simply residents by circumstance.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so powerful.
It is.
Because it's so relevant to what's happening in society right now with all the knife crime and things like that. But I hope that the story definitely breaks it down and show the different layers of it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more to it than just people going out and stabbing each other. Exactly
that. So yeah, I mean, I really look forward to it. It's gonna be a feature film. It's gonna definitely have some good backing in terms of like resources and stuff. So
yeah, it's Paramount and Rock Nation, and you know Rock Nation's not gonna put their name on anything that ain't serious.
Yeah.
And talking of Rock Nation, they're working hard. Jay-Z and his team are not playing, because they also recently a docu-series on Amazon Prime Video with Meek Mill.
Yes.
Exploring his life and also the flaws of the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know Meek Mill's a US rapper who's been on probation, who had been on probation for a really, really long time, and sent back to jail on numerous occasions just for doing, I think the last time he was sent to jail was for doing wheelies during a music video.
What, on a motorbike?
On a motorbike. And he got sent back to jail. That's what he was sent to jail for. And then most of the times when people hear that Meek Mill's been sent to jail, they don't actually hear the reason why.
No.
Like when you're on probation in America, you can literally sneeze in front of a police officer and go to jail. That's an exaggeration, clearly, but it's just to show you that any minor offence you get sent back for. And going to jail is not any easy feat. Like, you're going to jail, and we all know American jail is completely different to like a UK jail. And I think, and there was some like parts with his story. So, for example, I think the police basically said one thing. They said that he was like brandishing the gun and like waving it. This was when he got arrested initially. So they were saying that he brandished a gun and he was raising it back and forth and like threatening to shoot police officers. But what's basically happened is allegedly the police officers made that story up. But in America, when you don't have lawyers and you don't have people that are going to support you, oftentimes most young people will just accept a plea deal.
Right.
So
which in itself would then kind of say you're guilty, right?
Exactly. So what's happened, he's accepted a plea deal and got a lesser sentence, served the time for that. But then now when he's thinking back, he was just thinking along the lines of, oh, well, that's just the life of a black man in America. And you could just imagine the amount of young people who are going through the system who, even though they're given lawyers that are quote unquote supposed to be there to support them, most of these lawyers have got so many cases on their books that most of the time they say to the young people, just accept the plea deal. So a lot of them are pleading guilty to things that they haven't actually done,
right?
But they just know that they don't have any support and there's no one out there that's going to help them. And most of the time they set the bail so high that they wouldn't even be able to afford that anyway. So who's going to bail you out so you accept a plea deal? So that was his situation. And it's only now he's saying when he looks back, it's like, really, like, do you think if I was a black man in America and I was brandishing a gun at how many cops that I would still be alive to tell the story?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically using his story, and he's allowed them to go behind the scenes with him and really tell his story to the public so people can gain a better understanding of the criminal justice system in America.
Yeah.
And how flawed it is.
Yeah. And I think it's good. I mean, obviously it's not good what he's been through, but sometimes someone of his stature has to go through things like that. So it does open the eyes of people because he's someone of influence, surrounded by people of influence, you know, and what he's gone through, he shouldn't have gone through. But for loads of other people that aren't in that kind of privileged position to tell a story, he could be making it easier for them and for people going forward.
And it's also the media, the role that the media plays in telling these stories as well.
Yeah. Because
I am guilty of the fact that I just thought that Meek Mill was a gangbanger just based on how they presented his story to the public. Yeah. It was only when I watched his interview with Trevor Noah that I realised that, hold on, like the things he's actually been sent to jail for are just really silly. Like, stupid even. He done a wheelie. He was doing a video.
It's ridiculous.
And then he's saying things like, come on, mate, like, you know that I'm not out here gangbanging. I was on tour. Like, you can go to my manager. He's like, I employ hundreds of people. Like, you know what I'm doing. So for you to send me to jail, like, it just doesn't make any sense. So if you can see what I'm doing, you know that I'm a businessman, and you're still sending me to jail because of flaws in the system, what would you do to, like, a younger person who has nothing?
Exactly.
So it was just crazy. But I think some of these laws, like, come on, man. Like, there needs to be some kind of common sense.
Well, that's what they're petitioning for, right? But where you said role of media, this kind of relates to a point we were talking about before about Netflix and some of the streaming services being able to take more risks in telling these stories. So this series is coming out on Amazon Prime, and it's called, was it called Free Meek? Yeah. So that in itself is massive, because, you know, who else is telling these kind of stories? If it was the media that was perpetrating this image of Meek that people were just blindly buying into, us included, you know, it's good that Amazon and like Netflix are telling the kind of counter stories and becoming accountable, like being the media that's accountable for telling the other side of the story.
The term that they actually use is getting behind the headlines.
Who's using that?
That's what they use in the like the description for
okay,
documentary. But it's so true, because perception's such a powerful thing,
it's
right?
Mad.
And you can just, like, for example, if you take a screenshot of a video, like even like the R. Kelly video where they took a screenshot of him standing
with his
over
hand up,
Gail,
yeah.
That was such a powerful image, but that image alone doesn't tell the full story. And I'm not standing up for R. Kelly in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just showing you how powerful an image can be.
Yep.
So if you only take a snapshot of something and then you use that, and that's the truth, and that's all you're seeing, and if you've constantly heard that this person's going to jail, like 2 becomes 22, and you start reading into things way more than there is. So it's really important, and that's the power of social media as well, is that people have the opportunity now to come forward and tell their own stories, rather than when you see someone and they just get papped by the paparazzi in that moment. Like, how many people have been accused of being in relationships with people and all of that? And as the public, we're suckered into it. We just like, if it's in a newspaper, it's true.
as a public, we're conditioned to believe any image coupled with a headline. And that's it. Like, even in this Madeleine McCann documentary, I'm not going to go into it, but one of the ex-heads of The Sun said, and they know this, is that they don't have to point a finger at anyone. All they have to do is suggest. So if they put a picture up and they ask a question, did this person do it? That's all they need to do, because they believe, or the public believes, where there is smoke, there will be fire. So that's all they need to do, the suggestion. And that's what's happened. That's what kind of smears people's perception.
It's been manipulated.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why you don't have freedom of thought anymore, because a lot of people just, and that's why I think people enjoy these conversations, because we have the freedom to, by virtue of this platform, dissect issues and look at them without any bias. You know, so
our own bias.
We've got our own bias. But then the thing is as well, we don't necessarily, it's with bias, but it's our personal biases rather than us collectively having a bias.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So even though I might have my perspective, there's time, because especially even last week, if you guys listen back, no, not last week, the week before, Culturex one, the part that blew my mind during that conversation when we was talking about separating the art from the artist is when you really brought it to my attention that it's not just R. Kelly's song.
Yeah.
There's so many other,
not just Michael Jackson's song.
Yeah, there's so many other people behind a song.
Yeah.
So that was really, really powerful for me, and that's why I think people have to be able to like think objectively. Like, just because the media's fed you something, like, what do you really believe? Like, if something smells fishy, it probably is. But just because the media told you, it doesn't make it a fact.
Exactly.
But anywho, so what else have we got on the list?
Just something creative that I thought we should bring up. So Quentin Tarantino's 9th movie is coming out soon. It's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie. And he said he's only going to be doing 10 movies, so this is his penultimate movie, set in the 1950s, I believe, and it's about a stuntman, but also covers an actress's death. So yeah, I mean, I won't go too deep into it, but yeah, the trailer's up, and I just thought it looked really cool.
I really like him. My favourite is Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time.
It's one of my all-time favorite films of life. Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I've watched that film, the series, so many times.
Yep.
And every single time I watch it, I'm like, I didn't see that before. It's so clever. And do you remember when we posted on our Instagram when he was reading through the script? Do you remember that?
I don't remember it.
No way. So he was reading through the script.
Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, he was reading through the script of Kill Bill. I'll find it for you and tag you, and I'll give you the link for this episode. So he was basically reading through the script before he'd even made the film, and what he was reading through was the church scene.
Oh.
So he was literally said, and then he walks into the church, and then he goes up to her, and then he takes a napkin or something, and he wipes her face, and then the first thing she says is, "Bill, it's your baby." And I was like, oh my god, that's so powerful. This is how he made it. But then really, like, when he was reading the script, it's like you can see he just knew that it was gonna be a badass film.
Yeah, for sure.
But he was literally like, he was just like in his casual clothes. He was just reading it to a friend. I need to go back and dig through our profile. I can't believe you didn't see that.
Yeah. No, I probably have seen it, but my memory's just not working.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. But it was a sick moment, like, because if you're like a fan of Kill Bill, and then you saw that, you're just like you felt really like you got taken back to, like, is it inception of the film, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
because you don't really, as like the audience, you don't really get to really go behind the scenes much. So even like in terms of script writing,
and seeing how that translated from paper to screen,
how it goes to screen. So that was really powerful for me. So that was like amazing. So the movie's planned to release on 9th of August 2019. And I know I just said it was set in the 50s, but it's actually set in 1969. I'm just fact checking whilst we are on air. And the Margot Robbie's character is based on Sharon Tate. And if you know Sharon Tate's story, you will know what's going to be covered in the movie. So, it looks really cool. I'm sure it's going to be dope because it's Tarantino. I didn't see his last movie, actually. I think it was The Hateful Eight. I haven't really watched many of his films, if I'm honest. I've just kind of stuck to Kill Bill.
That's the one, yeah.
I need to check out the rest of his work. But that film was just like, because Cardi B even recreated that church scene, didn't she, in one of her music videos?
Yeah, I mean, it's iconic.
It's iconic, yeah. Yeah, but then, talking about icons, Jesus Walks.
Yeah. Man like Kanye. So we're recording this on a Sunday. And Kanye, for the last few weeks, or at least month, has been dropping these. Well, he's not even been doing it himself, dropping them. But he's been hosting... he's been hosting Sunday sessions where it's somewhere in California in nature.
I think it's in their house, their back garden.
Really?
Because I remember like listening to Yinka and that on Capital Extra, and Yinka was like, "So what's the toilet situation like? Because there's bare people in his house." So.
I was thinking that, because if it was somewhere random, then they would get thousands of people turning up, wouldn't they?
Yinka's like, I'm not sure Kanye's really thought this through, because
is that a garden?
You got all these people in your house. Where's everyone going to the toilet? Who's feeding these people? I need answers. And I was just crying.
That is definitely garden goals, though. Garden goals.
Houses, they've probably got acres of land.
Yeah. I love nature. But yeah, so if you haven't seen it, so Sunday Sessions is Kanye's got a massive choir, essentially, and musicians and everything. So imagine like a church, a Pentecostal church that's got amazing musicians, amazing singers and everything. And there must be about 50 people, right? In this.
It's really good, though.
In this like choir. And they do a mix of gospel songs and classic like soul songs, but also renditions of Kanye songs, and even ones that he's produced for other people. And it's just amazing, man. Like, they pick a color, I think, every week that they wear.
Most of the time they wear white, and it's just North, Kanye's daughter, that's just having the time of her life.
Yeah.
Videos that I see, she's just breaking it down, but it's good. I think
they're wearing grey today. I think
therapeutic for Kanye as well. Takes away from all of the controversy. It gives him
man.
Don't know why he's doing it, but it's positive. It's really amazing music.
Yeah, because Kanye's label's good music. One thing regardless of what anyone thinks about Kanye and all the controversy that surrounds him, what he is a genius at is having other really brilliant minds come around one idea and execute on it, which is what's happening with these Sunday sessions. And it just sounds amazing, man. Like, definitely, I mean, we'll put up the links in our show notes, but we'll repost on our Instagram as well.
Yeah, I need to find some, because most of the time I see them in stories. I need to find.
I've got some of the artists that are in the choir. I follow them, so I'll send you those.
Oh, okay. So send me those then. Yeah, because most of the time I see it in like Kim or Chloe, only the Kardashian sisters. I see it in their stories, but I've never actually seen it on the page, so I can jack it. Sorry, copyright.
Repost is the technical name.
Sharing. Sharing is caring.
But yeah, it's such a vibe, man. It's such a vibe. I think anyone would like to sit there and just sit back and enjoy the music, which is what it's all about.
No, it's really good, and I'm happy that he's taken things in that direction as well, because I genuinely think that he's a genius, and I think being in his world, when there's so many people around you and all the pressure and things like that, you just can't judge someone just by their public persona, because you really don't know what's going on in the back. But I appreciate him for all of the music that he's brought to the world, because he's a legend. True. Like, you can't even take away the fact that the man's a genius.
Yeah, of course not. He didn't get it by accident, did he? It's not. And
I think his frustration is that he's, like, most people don't want to accept it, but his thought level is ahead of ours. So a lot of the things that we think are crazy, maybe I don't really, agree with some of the things he says politically, but in terms of creativity, like, Kanye has set trends, even through Kim Kardashian, even through fashion. Like, he literally dresses Kim, and then every girl and her sister copies Kim. So he's a true definition of an influencer, whether people want to give him the credit for it or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, people will, dislike Kanye and his music, but then walk around in his trainers. And won't really talk about separating the artist from the art.
What Kim Kardashian is.
Yeah, or like a copy of. It's influence. It's definitely influence. Yeah, man. What was I going to say? No, I think it was just about Kanye being ahead of most, because you said he's ahead of everyone. And I was like, well, ahead of most.
Ahead of most. I just think, like I said the last time, it's like, with creatives, and I think that's the message that everyone needs to take on board, don't be scared to be different. Because that is your power.
It really is.
The world doesn't want the same thing over and over and over and over again. Everyone's just regurgitating the same thing. And be proud of being different as well.
There's a power in being vulnerable.
People don't understand it, but they're not supposed to, because if they did, then they'll be you.
Exactly.
Right? And we all have to bring different ideas to this world, because if people weren't willing to think outside of the box, we wouldn't be able to record a podcast, period.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to have our voice amplified by using a microphone. Could you imagine back in the day when man are running around in the bush and someone's going to say, you can plug in this phone and you can talk
to the world.
To the world. Or you can have a relative in America and you can hold up this device and you can see them. People are not going to think like that. So sometimes you have to think so way outside of the box, because an idea and thoughts are extremely powerful, and the more you put a thought out there, it becomes a part of the universe, and there will be someone out there that's thinking of another idea that's going to help your idea come alive.
And creativity creates more creativity. So, art inspires art. Get your stuff out there.
I think sometimes, like, as a society, it's lack of knowledge and, lack of understanding that will make some creatives feel like, they can't do certain things, but we're not supposed to understand. So don't lean on our understanding, lean on yours, and just be brave enough to just step out there and do what you want to do. Because that's what I find, like, the world, we don't know what we want half the time as consumers. We have to be given it. Exactly. And then we'll be like, oh yeah, I needed this all my life.
Exactly.
Like, who thought we need Instagram as much as we do? But hey, here we are.
Here we are. So I think that's a good point to leave it on.
And that's my words of motivation.
It's good. It's good. I love that. I love that.
It's true. Definitely, man. Just do you. Ultimately, just do you.
Do you. You are the best you.
Whilst you're doing you, just plug in FTC and listen to our episodes, listen to us rambling on, listen to our perspective, listen to our point of view. And
share
if you
it with
like
your
what
friends.
you're hearing, tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Drop us a review. We are getting more reviews now, and that's across different platforms as well, which is sick. We love to hear from you guys. Seriously, it really makes our day when we get a review or a note or a comment or anything like that. We celebrate our wins, and we just love that you guys are loving these episodes. So thank you so much.
Yes, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks, but look out for another exciting interview
next week.
Monday.
Yeah. Cool, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Later.